My wife declared, "From now on, I decide when we spend time together. Stop being possessive. I'm not your property." So I did exactly that. 1 week of absolute silence. When she suddenly showed up at my job, I finally, all right, buckle up, Buttercup, because I'm about to tell you the story of how I went from relationship goals poster boy to the guy who discovered that silence is actually golden. And I'm not talking about some Zen monastery BS. I'm Travis Bennett, 32 years old, marketing manager at a soul sucking corporate firm. And for exactly 6 glorious months, I thought I'd absolutely crushed this whole marriage thing. Like, legitimately believed I was the LeBron James of husbands. My wife, Riley, she was a goddess, man. The kind of woman who made other dudes at the gym stop mid rep just to watch her walk by. Long dark hair, smile that could sell toothpaste, and this laugh that sounded like those wind chimes rich people hang on their porches. We met at some pretentious rooftop bar where $15 cocktails come in jars because apparently we're all just sophisticated hillbillies now. She was drinking something with lavender in it. Yeah, they put flowers in alcohol now. Welcome to 2025. And I made some dumb joke about how my beer was artisanal because I'd opened it myself. She laughed. Like, actually laughed. Not that polite, please leave me alone, chuckle women do. 3 months later, I proposed on the same rooftop because I'm nothing if not a sucker for full circle moments. The wedding was perfect. Her Pinterest board came to life, complete with fairy lights, a hashtag nobody used, and my cousin Derek getting drunk and crying during the toast. Standard American wedding, really. Those first 6 months, absolute fire. We're talking texts throughout the day, not just what do you want for dinner, but actual cute stuff. Miss your face already while I'm literally in the bathroom. Heart emojis with our morning coffee routine. We had matching hoodies, people. Matching. Hoodies. The kind with our initials and that fancy script that makes it look like we got married in 1952. I wore mine to the grocery store, proudly. My boys at Murphy's Bar, this dive where the peanuts are free and possibly older than democracy, they called me spoiled rotten. Owen, my buddy who's been divorced twice and has the emotional scars to prove it, looked at me over his fourth whiskey and said, "Bro, if she's still laughing at your dumb jokes after 6 months, she's basically a unicorn. Don't screw this up." Even my mom, who's loved exactly three things in her life, Jesus, the Packers, and her Labrador, said I'd found a keeper. She used air quotes and everything like she was teaching me a new vocabulary word. I strutted around like a peacock who'd won America's Got Talent. Smug doesn't even begin to cover it. I'd give advice to single guys like I'd unlock some ancient secret. Just be yourself, bro, but like the version that remembers anniversaries and doesn't leave beard hair in the sink. I was basically a relationship guru. Tony Robbins with better hair and worse credentials. Spoiler alert, I was an idiot. Because somewhere between our 6-month anniversary dinner, where I spent $200 on a restaurant that served portions fit for a hamster, and her first yoga retreat with her friend Melissa, who I'm convinced is actually a witch, something shifted. And I don't mean shifted like, oh, we're just settling into comfortable married life. I mean shifted like when your car starts making that weird noise and you know you're 3 days away from a catastrophic engine failure, but you keep driving anyway because ignorance is cheaper than mechanics. The good morning texts became K. Just the letter. Not even okay with the full 2 letters. She couldn't spare the extra keystroke. The love notes that used to appear in my lunch bag, gone, but replaced by Post-its that said things like, "We're out of almond milk," in handwriting that looked increasingly angry. The cuddles turned into her building what I can only describe as the Great Wall of China with our decorative pillows, those useless ones that cost $60 and serve no actual purpose except to make the bed look complete. Riley started talking to me like I was an underperforming employee, and she was my disappointed manager during a quarterly review. "Travis, you're not meeting expectations." Expectations? Expectations? Lady, I took out the trash before you even noticed it was full. I remembered to buy your specific brand of overpriced organic eggs. I watched 4 seasons of that dating show you love where people get engaged after knowing each other for 72 hours, and I didn't complain once. Well, maybe once. Okay, several times, but quietly. At first, I thought maybe she was stressed. Work stuff, hormone stuff. Maybe Mercury was doing that retrograde thing that everyone blames for their problems. I literally Googled, How long does Mercury retrograde last at 2 in the morning while she snored beside me? The internet told me it's 3 weeks. Great, 3 weeks I could handle. 3 weeks of moody wife, done it before during finals week in college. But 3 weeks came and went, then 4. Then suddenly we're at 8 weeks, and I'm realizing this isn't Mercury's fault. Mercury's innocent. This is something else entirely. My affectionate, loving, emoji-using wife had transformed into corporate Riley, CEO of Emotional Distance Inc., issuing memos instead of kisses and holding board meetings instead of conversations. Every attempt to talk about it got me corporate speak. You're overthinking this, Travis. Not everything is about you. I need you to give me space. Space? We live in a 2-bedroom apartment, not the freaking solar system. How much space does one person need? The kicker? She still posted us on Instagram. Perfect couple selfies with captions like, "My rock," while treating me like sedimentary stone, just there, boring and slowly eroding. Her friends would comment, "Goals," and I'd read it while she was in the next room, literally giving me the silent treatment because I'd had the audacity to ask about her day. My marriage had turned into one of those mandatory corporate team meetings where someone brings sad veggie trays instead of pizza, and everyone's just waiting for it to end so they can get back to pretending to work. Except this meeting was my actual life, and there was no escape to the parking lot. I tried everything. The love languages? Checked that box. Apparently hers was aggressive independence, which isn't actually in the book. Date nights, suggested weekly, she counter-offered with, "Maybe monthly, we'll see." Couples therapy. I don't think we need that. You just need to be less needy. Needy, me. The guy who once went an entire weekend without texting first just to prove I could, even though it nearly killed me. My buddy Zane, who I'd reconnected with at the gym, more on that dumpster fire of a reunion later, said I was living in what he called relationship purgatory. Not good enough to be happy, not bad enough to leave, just stuck in this middle zone of, well, this is fine, I guess, while everything is very much not fine. Like sitting in a burning building, drinking coffee, saying this is fine, except the coffee's cold and also on fire. But here's the thing about being in denial. You can maintain it for a surprisingly long time if you're stubborn enough. And I, Travis Bennett, am magnificently stubborn. It's basically my only talent besides parallel parking and making decent scrambled eggs. So I kept going, kept trying, kept hoping that the woman I married would come back from whatever alternate dimension she'd been visiting. I bought flowers. What are these for? Did you do something wrong? I cooked dinner I already ate. I suggested a weekend trip. I'm busy. Busy doing what? Just busy, Travis. God. That last conversation happened on a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays are trash day, and the metaphor wasn't lost on me as I dragged our bins to the curb later, wondering if I should just climb in one myself. Dramatic? Sure. Accurate? Also sure. Little did I know, the real fun was about to begin. Because the following Thursday, Riley was about to deliver what I now refer to as the Declaration of Independence. Hers, not mine, and definitely not the fun one with fireworks. The Thursday that changed everything started like every other mediocre day in paradise. I woke up to an empty bed. Riley had started this thing where she got up an hour early to do yoga in the living room, which sounds healthy until you realize it's just an excuse to avoid morning conversation. I made coffee alone, scrolled through my phone alone, and ate toast alone, while standing over the sink like some kind of divorced dad in a depressing indie movie. Except I wasn't divorced, just married to a ghost who occasionally needed me to open jars. Work was the usual circus, presentations nobody cared about, meals that could have been texts, texts that should have been illegal. My coworker Samantha asked if I was okay, because apparently I'd been sighing a lot. Was I? Probably. When your home life feels like a never-ending customer service call, you tend to develop some tells. I got home around 6:30 armed with Thai food from that place Riley used to love. Peace offering? Desperate attempt to spark literally any positive emotion? Both? Definitely both. I walked in to find her sitting on the couch, still in her work clothes. She's an account manager at some advertising firm, which explains a lot about her ability to gaslight me while maintaining perfect hair. "Hey, babe, got your favorite pad?" She cut me off. Literally held up one perfectly manicured finger like a traffic cop stopping a drunk driver. Then she stood up, grabbed her designer purse, the one I'd bought her for Christmas that cost more than my first car, and slammed it on the coffee table. The decorative candles we never light rattled. I think one of our fake plants died from the shockwave. We need to talk. Oh, good. The four words that have never preceded anything good in the history of human relationships. Right up there with, it's not you, it's me, and I accidentally adopted 6 cats. I set down the Thai food, which suddenly felt very stupid in my hands, like I'd brought a pool noodle to a sword fight. Okay, what's up? Riley took a breath, the kind actors do before delivering the speech that wins them an Oscar. From now on, I decide when we spend time together. I blinked, waited for the punchline. It didn't come. I'm setting boundaries, Travis. Stop being so possessive. I'm not your property. Property? Property? I didn't even own the good pillow on our bed. She'd claimed that in month 2. I didn't own the remote control. I didn't own my side of the closet, which had mysteriously shrunk to accommodate her expanding shoe collection. I owned my car, my laptop, and a ratty college hoodie she kept threatening to donate. That was it. I just stared at her, remote control in hand. Ironic, given I controlled exactly nothing. Frozen mid-duck documentary. Yeah, I watch duck documentaries. They're peaceful and nobody's getting divorced. Did you just schedule our marriage? I asked slowly, carefully, like I was communicating with an alien species. Should I submit a request form? Does this go through HR? Do I need a Zoom link? Her eyes narrowed into slits that could have cut glass. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Your sarcasm. Your need to make everything a joke. I'm serious, Travis. Oh, I can tell, I said, matching her energy with the enthusiasm of a DMV employee on a Monday. Super serious, very boundary, much independent. Wow. Wrong move. She made this noise. Not quite a scream, more like a tea kettle achieving consciousness and choosing violence. You're being immature. I'm being immature? You just announced that my own wife is implementing a scheduling system for marital interaction. What's next? Do I need to book quality time 2 weeks in advance? Is there a cancellation policy? She grabbed her purse again. That poor purse was getting more action than me, and stormed toward the bedroom. Before disappearing, she turned back with the kind of look that could curdle milk. Maybe if you weren't so clingy, we wouldn't need boundaries. Think about that. Then she was gone. Door slam. The Thai food sat there getting cold, probably judging me. I stood in our living room, duck documentary still playing, wondering what the hell just happened. The narrator was explaining migration patterns. I related. I too wanted to migrate. Anywhere else. I texted at Owen. Dude, she just put me on a schedule. 3 dots appeared. Then, like a chore chart? Word, a relationship appointment system. That's not a marriage, bro. That's a Calendly subscription. He wasn't wrong. I laughed that slightly unhinged laugh you do when you're either breaking down or breaking through, and honestly, at this point, they feel the same. Then I made a decision. Not a huge dramatic one, no suitcases or hotel rooms or calling a lawyer. Just a simple, beautiful decision. If Riley wanted space, I'd give her space, the whole damn galaxy if she wanted it. I ate the Thai food alone. It was cold and kind of rubbery, which felt appropriate. Then I did something I hadn't done in weeks. I didn't text her, didn't knock on the bedroom door, didn't try to fix anything. I just existed in my own space, watching ducks do their thing, and for the first time in months, the silence felt like relief instead of rejection. That night, sleeping on the couch, I realized something profound. Peace and quiet might officially be peaceful and quiet. And the next morning, Friday, day 1 of what I'd later call the silence experiment, I woke up to 0 texts from Riley. None. Not even a passive-aggressive good morning with a period at the end. My thumbs twitched toward my phone out of habit, muscle memory from 6 months of good morning texts and heart emojis. But I stopped myself. She wanted space? Cool. She got space, NASA-level space. I made coffee, drank it in actual silence instead of tense silence, and headed to work feeling weird. Not bad weird, different weird. Like when you finally get your hair cut after months and keep reaching for hair that's not there anymore. Day 2, Saturday. My phone felt like a useless brick. I kept checking it, expecting something, anything. Nothing came. Riley was in the apartment, but might as well have been on Mars. She moved around like I was furniture. Not even good furniture. More like that chair nobody sits in, but nobody throws away either. I went to the gym, not our gym, the fancy one with eucalyptus towels and people who Instagram their workouts, but my old gym. The kind where the equipment is older than most marriages, everyone grunts like they're fighting bears, and nobody cares if your socks match. It smelled like rubber, sweat, and poor life choices. It was perfect. That's where I ran into Zane Martinez, this guy I knew from high school who'd apparently spent the last decade transforming into a human action figure. Dude looked like he ate dumbbells for breakfast and chased them with protein shakes made of pure determination. Bennett, Travis Bennett, he had this huge grin, the kind genuine people have before life beats it out of them. Bro, where you been? We caught up between sets. I gave him the highlights reel, which played more like lowlights. By the time I finished explaining my marriage situation, he was shaking his head. Man, that's rough, but hey, you're here now. That's what matters. He slapped my shoulder with enough force to register on the Richter scale. You know what you need? A solid routine. Gym becomes your therapy. He wasn't wrong. For the next hour, Zane pushed me through a workout that made me question every life choice that led to this moment, including birth. But afterward, I felt good, alive in my... like I'd remembered I had a body that could do things besides exist as an emotional punching bag. Same time Monday? Zane asked. Yeah, man, definitely. Day 3, Sunday. I woke up on the couch again. It had become my territory now and realized I'd achieved what monks probably meditate decades for. Inner peace through complete emotional detachment. No more anxious checking my phone. No more wondering what I did wrong. No more walking on eggshells in my own apartment. I started journaling mostly because my therapist from 2 years ago said it was healthy, and also because talking to myself out loud seemed like a slippery slope. The entries were simple. Day 3, still alive, no arguments about towel placement. Ate breakfast without tension, feeling good. Riley walked past me twice like I'm a lamp. Lamps have it easy. By day 4, I was thriving. Thriving. I blasted early 2000s rock, the good stuff, back when bands had actual instruments and angst was poetic instead of produced. I ate pizza for breakfast because nobody was there to judge me with that look that says, "We have eggs, Travis." I watched my duck documentaries. I reorganized my side of the closet, which took about 4 minutes given its size. Samantha from accounting noticed at work. "You look different," she said during our coffee run. "Did you do something to your hair?" "Discovered the magic of not being nagged," I replied. She laughed, genuinely laughed, which felt foreign and wonderful. Careful, that kind of peace is addictive. Too late, already hooked. We started taking coffee breaks together. Nothing weird, just two people who enjoyed complaining about spreadsheets and the human condition. She was funny, sarcastic, and crucially, didn't make me feel like my existence was a burden. Revolutionary stuff. Day 5 through 7 blurred together in the best way. Gym with Zane became my anchor. Work became bearable. Home became, well, still awkward, but I'd carved out my space. The couch was mine. The living room after 8 p.m. was mine. My silence was mine. The silence experiment was working. I discovered that revenge doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's just giving people exactly what they asked for and watching them choke on it. Friday night, exactly 7 days after the declaration, I was at Murphy's bar with Owen, celebrating what he called my spiritual awakening and what I called finally getting some damn peace. That's when my phone buzzed. Riley. Hey. Just that. One word, no punctuation, no context. The same woman who demanded space now wanted, what exactly? Attention, validation that I was still orbiting her planet even though she'd kicked me out of her solar system? Old Travis would have responded immediately, probably with something pathetic like, "Hey, how are you? Miss you." New Travis, the Travis who'd been sculpted by silence and duck documentaries, waited 6 hours. I finished my beer, played 2 games of darts, lost both, drove home, showered, watched an episode of that cooking show where everyone cries, and then responded, me, "Hey." Perfect. Mirror her energy. Give her nothing to work with. The conversational equivalent of returning a serve in tennis. Polite, appropriate, and completely devoid of effort. 15 seconds later, my phone exploded. Riley. "Why are you being weird, Riley? Are you okay, Riley? This is so immature, Travis." Riley. "We need to talk." I almost framed that moment. Printed the screenshots, put them in a nice frame, hung it above the toilet. She was mad that I'd respected her boundaries. Mad. The irony was richer than my mom's Thanksgiving gravy, and that gravy is basically liquid gold. I didn't respond. Not that night, anyway. I just smiled, cracked open another beer, and texted Owen a screenshot. Him. BRO. Him. She's losing it. Him. This is beautiful. Him. I'm tearing up. Him. Standing ovation for silent revenge. Me. May every word she said haunt her own echo. Him. Poetic. I'm using that. That night I slept like a baby who'd finally figured out that sometimes the best response is no response at all. The silence she demanded had become my weapon, and I hadn't even meant it that way. I'd just been existing, living my life, being the lamp she treated me as. Turns out when you stop chasing someone who's running away, they eventually look back and realize you're not following anymore. And that apparently terrifies them. The weekend passed in beautiful, blissful quietness. Riley was clearly spiraling. I could tell by the way she kept accidentally appearing wherever I was in the apartment, hovering like a mosquito at a barbecue, waiting for me to acknowledge her existence. I didn't. I just existed in my own bubble, untouchable and unbothered, channeling the energy of a monk who'd achieved enlightenment through spite. Monday morning rolled around like it always does, unwanted and inevitable. I went through my routine: coffee and protein shake, Zane's influence, mentally preparing for another week of corporate theater. Riley was in the kitchen when I walked in, wearing workout clothes and looking like she'd slept about as well as I used to. Morning, she said, casual, breezy, like she hadn't sent me 14 unanswered texts over the weekend, ranging from "we should talk" to "you're being childish," to the classic 2 a.m. whatever, Travis. Morning, I replied, matching her energy with the enthusiasm of someone reading microwave instructions. She waited. I poured my coffee. The silence stretched like taffy at a state fair. "So, you're really not going to acknowledge the elephant in the room?" she finally said. I looked around the kitchen dramatically. "We have an elephant? When did we get an elephant? I didn't agree to an elephant. This feels like a pretty big decision to make without both parties." "Travis." Her voice had that warning edge, the one that used to make me backpedal faster than a cyclist with broken brakes. "Not today, Satan." "Riley," I took a sip of my coffee. Perfect temperature, small victories. "This is ridiculous. You're being ridiculous." "I'm respecting your boundaries," I said calmly, channeling every customer service training video I'd ever been forced to watch. "You wanted space. You wanted to decide when we spend time together. You called me possessive. I'm fixing that. You're welcome." Her face went through more expressions than a mime having an existential crisis. "That's not... You're twisting my words." "Am I, though? Because I took notes, literally. I wrote them down. Would you like to see my journal? It's quite therapeutic, and I give it 4 stars. Would be 5, but my wife put me on a schedule. Stop being sarcastic. Stop being confusing." I matched her volume, which surprised us both. "You can't demand independence one week and attention the next. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. You don't get to microwave the relationship, Riley. Heat it up when you're hungry. Ignore it when you're not." She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. She looked like a fish trying to pass the bar exam. Finally. I needed space to figure things out." "Great. Take all the space you need. I'm not stopping you." I rinsed my mug, grabbed my keys. "I've got to get to work. Travis, have a good day, Riley." I left. She stood there in our kitchen, probably wondering what the hell just happened. I felt like I'd won a small battle in a war I didn't even want to be fighting. But you know what? If we're fighting, I'm not losing. Work was its usual Monday madness. Everyone pretending they didn't spend the weekend horizontal, mainlining Netflix and questioning their life choices. I buried myself in projects, had coffee with Samantha. She'd started bringing good cookies from this bakery near her place, and genuinely forgot about the morning drama until my phone rang at 2 p.m. Unknown number. I answered because ignoring unknown numbers is how you miss everything from lottery winnings to news that your car's extended warranty is definitely expiring. "Is this Travis Bennett?" Professional voice, female, confused why she's calling. "This is he. This is Karen from reception at..." She lowered her voice to a whisper. "Your wife is here." My blood went cold. "I'm sorry, what?" "Your wife. Riley Bennett, she's in the lobby. She's asking for you. She seems upset. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. We are not doing this. We are not bringing marital drama to my workplace like this is some reality TV show. I closed my eyes, counted to 5, and made a decision. Tell her I'll be right down. I saved my work, stood up, and Samantha looked over from her desk. You okay? You look like you just got audit news. Worse, wife's in the lobby. Oh, her eyes went wide. Office gossip spreads faster than pink eye at a preschool, and I'd been careful not to mention my marital issues. Too late now. Good luck? Gonna need it. The elevator ride down felt like descending into hell, if hell had fluorescent lighting and played smooth jazz. The doors opened and there she was, Riley, standing in our modern minimalist lobby wearing a dress that definitely cost more than my monthly car payment. Designer purse clutched like a weapon, looking around like she owned the place. She spotted me. Her face did this complicated thing where relief and anger fought for dominance. Anger won. Why aren't you answering my calls? She hissed, not quietly enough for Karen at reception to not hear, and definitely not quietly enough for the 3 people waiting for the elevator. Because you told me not to, I replied calmly, channeling every ounce of my customer service voice. Professional, detached, slightly robotic. You wanted boundaries. I'm respecting your boundaries. That's not, stop saying that. Her voice climbed an octave. People were definitely watching now. This was the most exciting thing to happen in this lobby since someone's lunch exploded in the microwave last month. Riley, this isn't the place. Then where is the place, Travis? You won't talk to me at home. You won't answer my calls. You're ignoring my texts. I responded to your texts. Technically true. I said hey back. Her face went red, like stoplight red, emergency flare red. You're being cruel. No, I said, and I meant it. I'm being obedient. You set rules. I'm following them. You can't be mad that the silence is too quiet. I thought you'd fight for us, she practically shouted. And oh man, Karen's eyes were saucers now. This was going in the office group chat immediately. I thought you cared. I do care, I said quietly, and the shift in volume made her pause. But I also respect you enough to take you seriously. You said, stop being possessive, so I stopped. You said give you space, so I gave you space. You said you'd decide when we spend time together, so I'm waiting for you to decide. That's not punishment, Riley, that's respect. She stared at me like I'd started speaking Mandarin. Behind her, 2 coworkers from accounting walked by, pretending not to stare, while absolutely staring. One of them gave me a subtle thumbs up. Thanks, Derek. Real helpful. This isn't what I wanted, Riley said, and her voice cracked slightly. Then what did you want? I asked, genuinely curious now. Because from where I'm standing, you wanted freedom until you realized freedom includes me not chasing you. She didn't have an answer. Just stood there, purse clutched, mascara starting to run slightly, looking lost. For a second, just a second, I felt bad. Wanted to hug her, fix it, go back to those first 6 months when everything was easy. But then I remembered all those K texts, all those times she walked past me like furniture, that Thursday speech, the boundaries, the schedule. I have to get back to work, I said gently. If you want to talk, actually talk, not just yell in my office lobby, we can do that. At home, when you're ready. But right now, I need to go. I turned toward the elevator. She grabbed my arm. Please don't do this. I'm not doing anything, I said, meeting her eyes. That's kind of the point. The elevator arrived. I got in. The doors closed on her standing there, looking smaller somehow, while Karen pretended to shuffle papers and definitely memorized every word for the group chat. Back at my desk, my phone lit up with messages from people I barely talked to. Dude, what was that? Your wife okay? Travis, you are a legend. That last one was from Owen, who wasn't even in the building but had apparently already heard through the grapevine. Office news travels at light speed. Samantha wheeled her chair over. So, don't. That was intense. It was a situation. She seemed, Samantha searched for a polite word, unhinged, dramatic, like she's auditioning for a CW show. I was going to say passionate, but sure, those work too. She handed me a cookie, chocolate chip, still warm. You handled it well. Very calm. Very cold. Cold? Not mean cold, just detached. Like you'd already left the relationship mentally and your body just hadn't caught up. Was that true? Maybe. Probably. The silence experiment had done something to me, rewired my brain from please love me to I'm good either way. Dangerous mindset for a marriage, probably healthy for a person. I just gave her what she asked for, I said, eating the cookie. Definitely 5 stars, this cookie. Not my fault she didn't like the taste. The rest of Monday crawled by like a sloth with a hangover. Every notification made me jump, expecting either Riley to storm back in with reinforcements or Charaman to call me in for creating a hostile work environment, or whatever they call it when your marriage implodes in the lobby. Neither happened. Just the usual ping-pong of work messages and 3 separate people asking if I was okay with that specific tone that means they definitely heard about the lobby incident and want details. I left work at exactly 5:30, no overtime, no hanging around. Straight to the gym where Zane was already warming up, because apparently the man lives there. I'm convinced he has a sleeping bag behind the squat rack. Heard you had an exciting day, he said, grinning like he'd won the lottery. How did you... You know what, never mind. Does everyone in this city know? Small world, bro. My cousin's girlfriend works in your building. Said your wife showed up looking like she was about to star in a telenovela. He handed me a weight that felt like a small car. Want to talk about it or just lift angry? Lift angry. Definitely lift angry. And I did. For 90 minutes, I lifted, ran, and generally punished my body for my life choices. Zane pushed me harder than usual, probably sensing I needed the distraction. By the end, my arms felt like overcooked spaghetti, and my legs were considering filing for divorce themselves. Feel better? Zane asked as we headed out. Physically worse, mentally better. That's the gym paradox, right? That's called growth, my man. He clapped me on the shoulder. Same time Wednesday? Absolutely. I drove home in silence. Actual peaceful silence. Not the loaded kind. My apartment building looked the same as always, beige, boring, and aggressively mediocre. The American Dream TM in architectural form. I trudged up to the 3rd floor, key in hand, preparing for whatever fresh hell awaited. The apartment was dark. Riley's car was gone from her assigned spot. Yes, we have assigned spots, because apparently even parking needs boundaries in this relationship. A note on the counter, her handwriting. Staying at Melissa's. Need space. I laughed. Actually laughed out loud in my empty apartment, like a sitcom character who's finally lost it. She needed space? Still? After the lobby performance? After demanding I fight for us? The mental gymnastics required for this level of contradiction would win Olympic gold. More space, I said to the empty apartment. Sure, take all of it. Take the space between galaxies. Become one with the void. I crumpled the note, tossed it in the trash, and made myself dinner. Not sad divorced guy dinner either. Actual food. Chicken, vegetables, rice. I put on music, not too loud, because I wasn't trying to be that neighbor, and ate at the table like a functioning adult. Day 1 of week 2. Tuesday. I woke up in my own bed, our bed, for the first time in over a week. Sprawled out like a starfish, no negotiating blankets, no adjusting for someone else's temperature preferences. Glorious. I made coffee without tiptoeing, sang badly in the shower, and went to work feeling weirdly light. Samantha noticed immediately. You look different. That's your greeting now? You look different? It's true, you look less, she waved her hand vaguely, haunted, more alive. Did you sleep? Like a baby. A baby who discovered his wife is staying at her friend's place indefinitely and has 0 regrets about it. Oh, damn. She wheeled closer, voice dropping to gossip volume. Is this like separation? Are you guys done? I have no idea, I admitted. She wanted space. I gave her space. She got mad about the space. Then she left to get more space. At this point, I think she's trying to escape Earth's atmosphere entirely. Men are from Mars. Women are from wherever is furthest from Mars. Pluto. Women are from Pluto. That tracks. We laughed, and it felt good. Normal. Like maybe my life wasn't completely a dumpster fire, just a small trash can fire. Manageable. Contained. Work was actually productive for once. I finished a project ahead of schedule, impressed my boss, a miracle, and even volunteered for a presentation next week because apparently confident Travis was emerging from the ashes of doormat Travis like a sarcastic phoenix. Day 2, Wednesday. Gym with Zane became my church. He'd started calling it therapy sessions, and honestly, he wasn't wrong. We'd lift, talk about life, and I'd realize things between sets. Profound stuff like, I deserve to be treated well, and marriage shouldn't feel like a part-time job you hate. You know what your problem is? Zane said, spotting me on bench press. My wife? Besides that, you forgot you're a catch, bro. You got a good job. You're funny. You're not hideous. Thanks. You're welcome. Point is, you've been acting like she's doing you a favor by being married to you. Flip it. You're doing her a favor by putting up with this nonsense. I let that sink in as I pushed up the bar. Was he right? Had I been so desperate to make it work that I'd forgotten I had value too? That relationships are supposed to be partnerships, not one person auditioning constantly for the other's approval? Huh, I said. Huh? You might be onto something. I'm always onto something. I'm like Oprah, but with muscles. Day 3, Thursday, 1 week since the lobby incident. My phone had been relatively quiet. A few texts from Riley that ranged from, "How are you?" to, "We can't keep doing this," to, "I miss our life." I'd responded to exactly none of them. Not out of cruelty, but because I genuinely didn't know what to say. What life did she miss? The one where she treated me like an inconvenience? I started journaling more seriously, not just quick notes, but actual thoughts. Day 3, week 2. Still alive, starting to remember what it feels like to just exist without anxiety. Didn't check my phone compulsively today. Didn't wonder if I'd done something wrong, just lived. Wild concept. Riley texted asking about the water bill. Responded with payment info. She said, "That's it? What else does she want? A sonnet about utilities?" Friday rolled around and Owen insisted on happy hour. You've earned it, bro. Week 2 of peace. That's like a record for married people. Murphy's bar was packed. Everyone celebrating making it to Friday alive. Owen bought the first round, I bought the second, and by round 3, we were deep in philosophical territory. Here's what I don't get, Owen said, gesturing with his beer in a way that made me worry about spillage. She wanted independence, right? Freedom? Apparently. So she got it. You backed off, gave her everything she asked for, and now she's mad? Yup. That's insane. Welcome to my life. No, like clinically insane. That's not a woman thing, that's a her thing. My ex-wife was crazy. Both of them? Both of them, he confirmed sadly. But even they didn't pull this level of mental gymnastics. Riley wants you to chase her while she runs away. That's not a relationship. That's a horror movie. I laughed so hard I almost choked on my beer. Horror movie? Yeah, man, like a psychological thriller. The Chasing, coming soon to a failing marriage near you. You should write movies. I should. I've got experience. He raised his glass. To silence. May it continue to drive her absolutely insane while you discover inner peace. To silence, I echoed. And we drank. Day 6, Saturday. I did something crazy. I cleaned the apartment. Not just surface cleaning, but deep cleaning. The kind where you move furniture and find lost socks and question every life choice that led to this much dust. I threw out old stuff, reorganized, reclaimed spaces that had somehow become hers through unspoken territorial acquisition. The bedroom got the most attention. I bought new sheets, my choice, navy blue. None of this 7,000 thread count nonsense that costs more than rent. Comfortable sheets, guy sheets. I rearranged the furniture slightly, just enough to make it feel different. Less like our room, more like my room that someone else sometimes occupied. Was it petty? Maybe. Did it feel amazing? Absolutely. Day 7, Sunday. I woke up to 17 texts, Binton, all from Riley, sent between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., ranging from "I can't sleep" to "Do you even care anymore?" to "This is what you wanted, right? For me to suffer?" That last one made me put the phone down and stare at the ceiling. Did I want her to suffer? No. Did I want her to understand how her actions affected me? Yes. Did I want her to realize you can't treat people like emotional yo-yos? Absolutely. I didn't respond, not yet. Instead, I made breakfast, pancakes, the job because I'm an adult who can cook, and sat down with my journal. Day 7, week 2. The silence experiment continues. Riley's unraveling. Part of me feels guilty. Most of me feels nothing. Not numb, just neutral. Like I've accepted that this might be who we are now. Two people who were good for 6 months and wrong for longer. She keeps asking if I care. I do, just not enough to set myself on fire, to keep her warm anymore. I spent Sunday doing absolutely nothing productive. Watched movies, ate snacks, existed in my space without drama or tension or wondering if I was being too loud or too quiet or too anything. It was the most peaceful day I'd had in months. That night, lying in my clean room with my new sheets, I realized something. The silence experiment wasn't an experiment anymore. It was just my life. And I was okay with that. Better than okay. I was good. Week 3 started with a bang, specifically my alarm not going off, because apparently I'd forgotten to charge my phone. Classic move. I woke up naturally at 7:30, which would have been fine except I had an 8 o'clock meeting. I scrambled like an egg at a diner, threw on whatever clothes passed the smell test, and ran out the door looking like a before picture in a makeover show. Made it to work with 3 minutes to spare, sweating and probably looking deranged. Samantha took one look at me and slid a coffee across her desk. Rough morning. Phone died. Alarm failed. Nearly died myself getting here. Well, you look very alive? That's generous. The meeting was fine. I'd prepared enough yesterday that I could wing it without seeming like I definitely winged it. Afterward, my boss, Margaret, actually complimented my presentation. Margaret, who once told someone their ideas were interesting in a tone that suggested they should consider a new career, said I was on fire lately. Thanks, I said, because I'm great at accepting compliments. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. You seem more present. Present. I was present because I wasn't constantly distracted by relationship drama. I wasn't checking my phone every 5 minutes, wondering if I'd upset my wife. I wasn't mentally rehearsing conversations or walking on eggshells. I was just here, working, being a functional human. Will do, I told Margaret and meant it. Lunch break rolled around and Samantha invited me to try this new sandwich place that apparently had bread so good it was almost illegal. Her words, not mine. But she wasn't wrong. We sat outside, enjoying the rare moment when the weather was actually nice, and she asked the question I'd been avoiding. So what's your end game here? End game? With Riley, the silence thing. Where's it going? I took a bite of my almost illegal sandwich, buying time. Honestly, no idea. I'm just existing, day by day. That's not a plan, Travis. It's not a plan. She gave me that look, the one that says, I'm calling BS, but I'll let you have it. You can't avoid this forever. Watch me, I said, but even I didn't believe it. That afternoon, something shifted. I was deep in spreadsheet hell when my personal phone rang. Riley. I stared at it for 3 rings, debating. Answer and potentially open Pandora's box, ignore and maintain peace, I answered. Because apparently, I'm a glutton for punishment. Hello? Travis. Her voice was different, smaller, tired. Can we please talk? Actually talk? Okay. Okay, just like that? You asked? I'm saying yes. Isn't that what you wanted? Silence on her end. Then, can you come home early? I'll be there at 5. I'll see what I can do. Thank you. We hung up. I stared at my phone like it had just confessed to murder. Samantha was watching me over her monitor. That was her? Yup. And we're talking tonight, apparently. Good luck, soldier. She saluted. Come back alive. I left work at 4:30, citing a personal emergency, which wasn't technically a lie. My marriage was definitely an emergency, and it was definitely personal. The drive home that felt like driving to a final exam I hadn't studied for. What was I going to say? What did she want to hear? More importantly, did I want to say? Riley's car was already in the lot when I arrived. Deep breath. You got this. You're a grown man who pays taxes and can parallel park. You can have one conversation with your wife. I walked in to find her on the couch. Our couch, my couch, whatever, looking smaller than I remembered. She'd been crying. That much was obvious. Mascara slightly smudged, eyes red, wearing yoga pants and a hoodie that might have been mine once upon a time. Hey, I said, setting my bag down. Hey. She tucked her legs under her, making herself smaller. Thanks for coming. I live here. Right, yeah, sorry. She laughed, but it wasn't happy. I don't know how to do this. Do what? Talk to you. It used to be so easy. Her voice cracked. When did it get so hard? I sat in the chair across from her, maintaining distance. Probably around the time you started treating conversations like business meetings and me like an employee you were disappointed in. She flinched. That's not fair. Isn't it, though? I kept my voice level, calm, not angry, just factual. Riley, you told me I was possessive for wanting to spend time with my own wife. You put our marriage on a schedule. You demanded space, then got mad when I gave it to you. Nothing about this has been fair. I know. Tears started falling, and she didn't even wipe them away. I know, okay? I messed up. I was confused and scared, and I took it out on you. Scared of what? Of this! She gestured wildly. Marriage, forever, being someone's everything. I panicked. I felt like I was losing myself, and I blamed you for it. There it was. The truth, finally. I sat back, processing. So, you pushed me away. I pushed you away, she confirmed. And you actually left. You weren't supposed to leave. You literally told me to. I know, but you were supposed to fight for us. To prove you loved me enough to… To what? I leaned forward now, finally feeling something other than numbness. To chase you while you ran? To beg for scraps of affection? To prove my love by accepting terrible treatment? That's not love, Riley. That's a test, and it's exhausting. She was full on crying now. I didn't mean for it to be a test, but it was, and I failed, apparently, by respecting your wishes. No, you didn't fail. I did. She wiped her face with the hoodie sleeve. I'm failing at all of this. I don't know how to be married. I thought I did, but I don't. The thing about seeing your wife break down is that it doesn't feel good, even when you're angry, even when you're hurt. I didn't want to comfort her. That felt wrong, like rewarding bad behavior. But I didn't want to twist the knife either. Marriage isn't supposed to be this hard, I said quietly. Not this early. We're not even a year in. I know. And I can't keep doing this. The hot and cold, the tests, the drama. I'm tired, Riley, exhausted. What are you saying? Good question. What was I saying? I looked at this woman I'd married, beautiful, complicated, currently a mess on my couch, and tried to figure out what I felt. Love, maybe. Resentment, definitely. Hope, unclear. I'm saying I need you to decide what you want, not what you think you want, or what sounds good on paper, or what you saw in some movie, what you actually want. Because I can't live in limbo. I want us, Shania said immediately. Do you? Or do you want the idea of us? Because the reality of us has been pretty terrible lately. She didn't have an answer for that. We sat in silence. Not comfortable silence, but not hostile either. Just empty. I'm sleeping in the bed tonight, I said finally. The couch thing is done. If you want to sleep here too, fine, but I'm not walking on eggshells in my own home anymore. Okay? And I'm not chasing you anymore. If you want space, take it. If you want to be here, be here. But I'm done with the games. Okay. Okay. I stood up, heading to the bedroom. At the door, I turned back. For what it's worth, those first 6 months were real for me. I don't know if they were for you, but they were for me. And that person who texted miss you from the next room, I miss her, but I don't think she's coming back. I closed the door before she could respond. Fell onto my new navy sheets and stared at the ceiling. My phone buzzed, probably Owen asking for an update. I ignored it. I was talked out, emotionally spent, and weirdly at peace with the chaos. Tomorrow was week 3, day 2. The silence experiment had evolved into something else entirely. The great honest conversation, the peace treaty, I'd figure out what to call it later. For now, I just needed sleep. I woke up alone. The bed was still just mine, sheets undisturbed on Riley's side. Through the door, I heard her moving around, quietly, like she was trying not to wake me. Consider it, Riley. I'd forgotten she existed. Got up, went through my morning routine, and found her in the kitchen making coffee. She'd made enough for 2. Small gesture, but I noticed. Morning, she said. Morning. We moved around each other like roommates, polite, careful, aware of boundaries. She didn't try to talk about last night, and I didn't bring it up. We just existed in the same space without drama. Revolutionary. Work was mercifully busy. Back-to-back meetings meant no time to overthink my marriage situation. During lunch, Zane texted asking if I was still alive. I confirmed my survival and promised I'd make it to the gym later. Physical pain to distract from emotional pain, a tale as old as time. Around 2 o'clock, Karen from reception called my desk. Travis, there's no one here for you this time. I just wanted to make sure you knew that. Okay? I mean, your wife isn't here. I'm just telling you. Proactively. Thanks, Karen. That's good. Yeah, okay, just checking. Have a good day. She hung up. Samantha looked over, eyebrow raised. What was that? Karen making sure my wife isn't staging another lobby intervention. Ah, customer service at its finest. The rest of the day passed normally, whatever normal was anymore. I left at 5:30, hit the gym, and Zane immediately knew something was different. You talked to her. How do you... You've got that look. The I had a feelings conversation and now I'm processing look. Is that a look? It's definitely a look. You're doing it right now. I filled him in between sets. He listened, nodding occasionally, and making sympathetic noises that implied he understood while also suggesting I was insane for being in this situation at all. So what now? He asked as I finished my reps. No idea. She says she wants to fix things, but saying and doing are different. Truth. Actions, bro. Watch the actions. What are you, a fortune cookie? A very muscular fortune cookie. He flexed, with excellent advice. Drove home feeling cautiously optimistic, which is basically pessimism wearing a disguise. The apartment smelled like food. Actual cooked food, not takeout or frozen pizza. Riley was in the kitchen, cooking, wearing an apron. I paused in the doorway, wondering if I'd entered an alternate dimension. Hey, she said, glancing over. I made dinner, nothing fancy, just pasta and chicken. You cooked. I cooked, she confirmed. Is that weird? It feels weird. Little weird, I admitted, setting my gym bag down. But good weird. Dinner was nice. We talked about nothing, work, weather, that show everyone was watching. Surface level stuff, but comfortable. No passive aggression, no loaded comments, just two people eating food and having a conversation. Baby steps. I'm thinking about therapy, Riley said as we cleaned up. Individual therapy. Maybe couples therapy too, if you'd want. I'd want. Yeah? Yeah, I think we need help. Professional help, not just us fumbling around hoping things get better. She nodded, looking relieved. I'll look into it. Okay. That night, she slept on the couch. Her choice, not mine. Said she didn't want to rush things and needed to earn her way back. I didn't argue. If she needed to do some symbolic gesture thing, fine. At least she was trying. Week 3 continued in this weird limbo state. Riley would cook sometimes. I'd cook sometimes. We'd talk sometimes. We'd sit in silence sometimes. It wasn't the honeymoon phase, not even close, but it wasn't a war zone either. Switzerland. We were Switzerland. Friday morning, Owen texted, status update? Me, ceasefire, and maybe peace talks. Him, proud of you, bro. Stay strong. Me, trying, it's weird. Everything's weird and embrace the weird. At work, Margaret pulled me aside. You're getting that promotion. I blinked. What promotion? The senior position. Opens next month. I'm recommending you. I thank you. Wow, you have been killing it. Whatever's going on in your personal life, it's working for your professional life? She smiled. Keep it up. I texted Zane immediately. Got a promotion. Him. Let's go. Him. Celebrating at the gym tonight. Extra reps. Me. That's not celebrating. Him. It is the way I do it. I told Riley that night over dinner. She'd made tacos, which were actually good. Her reaction was genuine happiness, no qualifiers, no making it about her. Just, that's amazing. I'm so proud of you. Thanks, I said, and meant it. We should celebrate. Actually celebrate, not just me saying we should and then being weird about it. What did you have in mind? Dinner? That nice Italian place you like tomorrow night? Yeah, okay, that'd be nice. Saturday night we got dressed up. Not fancy, just nice. The kind of effort that says, this matters. The restaurant was the one from our third date, which she'd remembered. We talked over wine and breadsticks, about work and friends and everything except the elephant that lived rent-free in our marriage. Until dessert. I started therapy, Riley said, breaking the careful peace. Had my first session Thursday. How'd it go? Hard. Good, but hard. I'm realizing a lot about myself, not all of it great. Join the club. She smiled sadly. I'm sorry, Travis. For all of it. The boundaries speech, the lobby thing, the tests, all of it. I was scared. And I handled it terribly. I appreciate that. Do you forgive me? I thought about it. Really thought. I'm working on it. Forgiveness isn't a switch, it's a process. That's fair, but I want to. I want us to work. Me too. We finished dessert, drove home, and for the first time in weeks, we sat on the couch together. Not touching, not cuddling, just together, watching some mindless TV show about people renovating houses, neither of us really paying attention. Can I ask you something? Riley said during a commercial. Sure. When did you stop fighting for us? I thought back to that Thursday, the lobby, the silence. I didn't stop fighting. I stopped begging. There's a difference. What's the difference? Fighting means both people are trying. Begging means one person's doing all the work while the other watches. I was tired of begging. She nodded slowly. I made you beg. You did. I'm sorry. I know. She leaned her head on my shoulder, tentative, asking permission. I didn't move away. We sat like that until the show ended, neither of us wanting to break whatever fragile truce we'd built. That night, she stayed on the couch again. But when I went to bed, there was a note on my pillow in her handwriting. Thank you for not giving up on me, even when I gave up on us. Earning you back, one day at a time. R. I put the note in my journal. Week 3 was ending differently than it started. The silence experiment had become the cautious reconciliation, not a happy ending, not yet, but maybe the beginning of a middle that didn't suck. I'd take it. Monday morning, I woke up to my alarm, properly charged phone. Thank you very much. And the smell of coffee. Riley had beaten me to the kitchen and was already dressed for work, scrolling through her phone with a cup in hand. Morning, I said, still groggy. Morning? Actual cheerfulness. Not forced, not performative, just normal cheerfulness. I made extra coffee, and I found that creamer you like, the one that's basically liquid diabetes. My favorite. We did the morning dance, getting ready, small talk, the kind of boring domestic routine that shouldn't feel like an achievement, but absolutely did. She left first, kissing my cheek on the way out. Just a peck, nothing major, but it was the first physical affection she'd initiated in weeks that didn't feel like a trap. Work started normal and went sideways around 10 a.m. when my desk phone rang. Internal call from HR. Oh no. Travis Bennett speaking. Hi, Travis. This is Monica from HR. Do you have a few minutes to come down? Every employee knows that sentence. It's never good. It's always some variation of, you're fired, or someone complained, or we need to discuss an incident. Sure now? If you're available, yes. I grabbed my phone, told Samantha I was possibly being fired, and headed to HR like a man walking to the gallows. She worked in the basement, because of course HR is in the basement, where dreams go to die and fluorescent lighting reigns supreme. Monica's office was aggressively beige. Motivational posters about teamwork and synergy covered the walls. She gestured to a chair, smiling in that professional way that reveals nothing. Thanks for coming down. I wanted to touch base about the incident last week. The lobby thing. Yes, the lobby thing. She folded her hands on her desk. Multiple people witnessed what appeared to be a personal domestic dispute taking place in our office space. That's accurate. While we understand that personal issues sometimes arise, we need to maintain a professional environment. For everyone's comfort and safety, I understand it won't happen again. Can you ensure that? I can ensure I won't bring it here. What my wife does is outside my control, but I'll make it clear to her that my workplace is off limits for personal drama. Monica nodded, making notes. We're not taking any disciplinary action at this time. This is just a conversation. But if it were to happen again, it won't, I promise. Good. And Travis, are you okay? Do you need any resources? We have an employee assistance program that offers confidential counseling. I almost laughed. HR caring about my well-being felt like a participation trophy at a funeral. Technically appropriate, but weird. I'm okay, we're working on things, but thank you. All right, you can head back up. I escaped the beige dungeon, took the elevator back up, and found Samantha waiting like a concerned parent. Well, not fired, just a please control your wife conversation. Ah, the classic. Is it classic? It is now. The rest of the day I spent crafting a text to Riley. How do you say, hey, don't show up at my job screaming anymore without sounding controlling? Draft 1. We need to talk about boundaries. Too familiar. She'd use that line on me. Draft 2. Your lobby appearance got me called to HR. Too passive-aggressive. Draft 3. Can we agree my workplace is a drama-free zone? Sent draft 3. She responded in seconds. OMG, I'm so sorry. Yes, absolutely. That was inappropriate. Won't happen again. Promise, promise, promise. Crisis averted. That night, Riley came home with groceries, an entire shopping trip without being asked. She'd bought actual food, not just wine and cheese like usual. Vegetables, protein, things that required cooking. Figured I should contribute, she said, unpacking. I've been pretty useless on the domestic front. Appreciated. We made dinner together, her chopping vegetables with the precision of someone who'd watched exactly one cooking show. Me handling the actual cooking because I didn't trust her with the stove unsupervised. We just sat down to eat when my phone rang. Owen. Sorry, I should take this. Go ahead. I stepped into the bedroom. What's up? Dude, I need your help. What happened? Sarah happened. Sarah was his on-again, off-again girlfriend, currently in her off-them phase. She showed up at my place, says she wants to talk. I'm freaking out. Deep breaths. What does she want to talk about? How should I know? Women say we need to talk, and it could mean anything from I love you to I've been a serial killer this whole time. Despite everything, I laughed. Okay. First, ask her what she wants to discuss specifically. Second, listen. Actually listen. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. Third, don't make promises you can't keep. Where'd you get so wise? I've been living a masterclass in relationship dysfunction. I'm either wise or traumatized, maybe both. Fair. Thanks, bro. I owe you. You owe me several beers and maybe therapy. Deal. I returned to dinner. Riley looked curious. Everything okay? Owen's girlfriend situation. Ah, how are they? Disaster, as always. We can't judge, she said pointedly. We absolutely can. We're a different kind of disaster. She smiled, actually smiled. Not that forced thing from before. Fair point. Wednesday night, I met the guys at Murphy's Bar. Owen, Zane, and Marcus, who I'd been friends with since college and who'd been mysteriously absent during my marriage meltdown. He worked night shifts at the hospital, which excused his disappearance, but didn't explain why he looked exhausted even by his standards. You look terrible, I greeted him. Thanks. You look married. Ouch. We claimed our usual tables, sticky, wobbly, perfect, and caught up. Marcus had been dealing with his own drama, involving an ex who couldn't take a hint and a new girlfriend who could take too many hints. Owen's situation with Sarah was ongoing. Zane was thriving, because of course he was. So you and Riley are good now? Marcus asked, halfway through his second beer. We're better, not good. Better. That's something. Something, I agreed. You ever think about just cutting your losses? Owen asked, then immediately backtracked. Not saying you should, just curious if you thought about it. Every day, I admitted. But then, she does something that reminds me why I married her. Makes dinner, says something funny, apologizes, and I think maybe we can fix this. That's love, bro, Zane said. The stupid kind that makes you stay when leaving would be easier. Thanks, Hallmark. You're welcome. We spent 3 hours there, talking about nothing and everything. Work, sports, that show everyone was watching, relationships, the meaning of life. Standard bar philosophy, made better by beer and worse by the fact that none of us had any answers. I got home around 11. Riley was still awake, reading on the couch, our couch, her temporary bed. Hey, she said. How was boys' night? Good, enlightening. Beer was cold. The essentials. She set her book down. I've been thinking. Uh-oh. Oh, good thinking. I want to do therapy. Us. Together. I found a couples therapist who has availability next week. Yeah? Yeah, I mean, if you want. I want. Okay, I'll book it. She smiled, relieved, and I realized we'd just made actual progress. Not huge, not dramatic, just forward motion, the kind that counts. That night, as I fell asleep in my navy sheets with the sound of Riley reading in the next room, I thought about trajectories. How week 1 was silence, week 2 was chaos, week 3 was tentative peace. Week 4 was approaching, and I had no idea what it would bring. But for the first time in months, I wasn't dreading it. Thursday afternoon, I was elbow deep in a budget report that made me want to fake my own death when Samantha appeared at my desk holding 2 coffees and wearing her I have gossip face. Break time, she announced. I'm busy. You're always busy. That's not an excuse. She set a coffee on my desk. Come on, 10 minutes. We ended up in the break room, which smelled like burnt popcorn and broken dreams. Samantha waited exactly 30 seconds before diving in. So, you and Riley, what about us? You seem lighter, less like you're carrying the weight of existential dread. That's the bar? Less existential dread? It's a low bar, but accurate. She sipped her coffee. Things are better? Things are different. We're trying. Therapy next week. Good, that's good. Therapy helps. She paused, choosing her words carefully. Can I be honest? Oh no. During the lobby incident, I didn't think you guys would make it. Thanks for the vote of confidence. I'm serious. She seemed unhinged. You seemed done. But now you're both trying, and that's actually really mature. Are you calling me immature usually? Usually, yes, but not about this. She raised her coffee in a mock toast. To growth. To growth, I echoed, clinking my paper cup against hers. Friday came with a surprise. Margaret called a department meeting to announce my promotion officially. Everyone clapped, looking various levels of genuine and jealous. Derek from accounting looked like he'd swallowed a lemon. Carol from marketing gave me a thumbs up. Samantha wolf whistled, which was embarrassing but appreciated. After, people congratulated me. Some seemed sincere, others less so. Office politics never change. Someone moves up, everyone recalculates their position in the pecking order. I just smiled, said thanks, and tried not to think about how my personal life was still a garbage fire, while my professional life was thriving. Maybe that was the trade-off. The universe saying, you can have one thing going well, choose wisely. I chose the paycheck. That evening, Riley suggested we celebrate properly. She'd made reservations at the steakhouse I'd mentioned once, 8 months ago, that she'd apparently remembered. You remembered. I remember things, she said, looking pleased with herself. We got dressed up, me in a button-down that wasn't wrinkled, her in a dress that made me remember why I'd proposed. The restaurant was exactly as fancy as I remembered, complete with leather booths and waiters who called you sir without irony. To your promotion, Riley said, raising her wine glass. To us not killing each other, I countered. To both. We clinked glasses. Dinner was good, great even. Steak cooked perfectly. Sides that were probably too fancy but tasted amazing. Conversation that flowed without forcing it. We talked about my new role, her work drama, random memories from when we were dating. Remember that awful rooftop bar where we met? Riley asked. With the $15 lavender cocktails? Yes. And you made that joke about your beer being artisanal. It was a good joke. It was a terrible joke, she corrected, smiling. But I laughed anyway. Why'd you laugh if it was terrible? Because you looked so nervous. It was cute. She paused. You're not nervous around me anymore. Should I be? No, but you used to be, like good nervous, excited nervous. I can be excited nervous again. Yeah? Yeah. We shared dessert, some chocolate thing that was probably more calories than a small car, and drove home in comfortable silence. The radio played something from the early 2000s, back when music was simple and relationships were someone else's problem. At home, Riley paused at the couch where she'd been sleeping. I'm tired of the couch, she said quietly. Yeah? Can I sleep in the bed? Not like together. Just in the bed, on my side. It's your bed, too. Doesn't feel like it lately. Well, it is. Come on. We got ready for bed in that weird dance. Brushing teeth side by side, changing in the same room but not watching, moving around each other like we'd done it 1,000 times because we had. She climbed into her side, I climbed into mine. The Grand Canyon of space between us. Good night, Travis. Good night, Riley. I woke up Saturday to her side of the bed empty but not cold. She'd been there recently. Found her in the kitchen making breakfast. Actual breakfast, not just coffee, eggs, toast, even bacon that wasn't burnt. You cook now? I asked, impressed. I'm learning YouTube tutorials. It's surprisingly easy when you follow instructions. Who knew? Definitely not me. We ate together, reading our phones in companionable silence. She showed me a funny video. I showed her a meme. Small moments, but they added up. This is what I'd wanted. Just normal, boring, comfortable. Later, Zane texted about the gym. I asked Riley if she wanted to come. To the gym? Yeah, you could do your thing, I'll do mine. Then maybe we grab lunch after? Like a date? Like a date. She thought about it. Okay, yeah, let me get changed. At the gym, Zane took one look at us and grinned. Well, well, well. Look who brought his wife. Don't make it weird, I warned. Too late. It's already weird. Hi, Riley. Hi, Zane, she said, surprisingly friendly. They'd met once at our wedding. He'd given a toast that was 50% inappropriate and 50% heartfelt. She'd loved it. She headed to the cardio area. I went to weights with Zane. Things are good? He asked while spotting me. Things are better. That's what we like to hear. Character development. Growth. You're basically the protagonist of a feel-good sports movie now. The sport is marriage and I'm losing. You're not losing. You're in overtime. Big difference. After the gym, Riley and I grabbed sandwiches from that place with the illegal bread. We sat outside, sweaty and tired and weirdly happy. This is nice, she said. It is. I miss this, us, just being. Me too. I'm sorry it took so long to get back here. We're not back yet, I said honestly, but we're on the way. She reached across the table, taking my hand. Her first real intimate gesture in weeks. I didn't pull away. Thank you, she said. For what? For not giving up. For giving me space when I asked, even though I was being ridiculous. For still being here. Where else would I go? Plenty of guys would have left. I'm not plenty of guys. No, she agreed. You're not. We finished lunch, walked around the neighborhood, and spent Saturday afternoon doing absolutely nothing productive. Watched movies, ordered pizza, existed in the same space without tension. It felt like those first 6 months again. Not identical. We'd been through too much for that, but similar, familiar, comfortable. That night, the space between us in bed was smaller. Not gone, but smaller. Progress. Monday started week 4, with what I can only describe as a curveball wrapped in irony and delivered by social media. I was at my desk halfway through my morning coffee when Samantha leaned over. Travis, have you seen Instagram today? No, why? Just check. I opened the app with the kind of dread usually reserved for medical test results. There, in all its filtered glory, was Riley's latest post. A selfie, her looking contemplatively at the camera, black and white filter. The works. Caption, healing from toxicity. Sometimes silence is abuse. Growth isn't linear. Self-love, healing journey, toxic relationships. I stared at my phone, read it again, then a third time, wondering if I'd somehow misunderstood English. You seeing this? Samantha whispered. I'm seeing something, not sure what. My phone started buzzing. Texts from mutual friends, people I barely talked to, even my cousin who lived 3 states away. Dude, what happened? You guys okay? Riley's post seems intense. You good? Travis? What is happening? Mom. Oh, good, my mother had seen it. That's exactly what I needed. Maternal concern via text message, because my wife decided that Instagram was her therapist. I closed Instagram, set my phone face down, and took a deep breath. Counted to 10, then 20, then gave up counting because math wasn't helping. Samantha watched me carefully. You okay? Define okay. Fair point. I made it to lunch before responding to anyone. Called Riley directly, because this felt like a conversation that needed actual voices. Hey, she answered cheerfully. Too cheerfully, suspiciously cheerfully. Hey, so, Instagram. Pause. What about it? The post about toxicity and silence being abuse? Oh, yeah, you saw that. I saw that. Everyone saw that. My mother saw that. It wasn't about you specifically, Riley. It was absolutely about me specifically. Silence is abuse, really? You demanded silence. I gave you silence. Now silence is abuse? That's not, look, I was just processing my feelings. On social media, publicly, where everyone we know could see it and assume I'm some monster. I didn't say you were a monster. You said silence is abuse. What do you think people are going to think? She went quiet. I could practically hear her realizing this was a problem. I'll delete it, she said finally. That won't help. Screenshots exist. People already saw it. My mom texted me. Your mom has Instagram? That's your takeaway? I'm sorry, okay? I wasn't thinking about how it would look. I was just venting. Vent to a therapist, to a friend, to a journal, not to Instagram where everyone we know is watching our marriage implode in real time. You're right, you're absolutely right, and I'm sorry. I hung up somewhat more aggressively than necessary, spent my lunch break fielding texts, explaining without explaining that no, I wasn't abusive, yes, we were fine, it's complicated, please stop asking. Owen called it during my lunch break. Bro, what is happening? My wife discovered social media has a post button. I'm seeing a lot of concerned messages in the group chat. Tell everyone I'm fine, she's fine, we're fine-ish. It's a misunderstanding. You sure? No, but that's the story we're going with. That evening, I came home to find Riley on the couch, phone in hand, looking miserable. I deleted it, she said immediately, and I posted an apology. Well, not an apology, but a clarification that I was being dramatic and processing and everything's fine. Let me see. She handed over her phone. New post. Quick clarification on earlier post. Was in my feelings, processing growth. Relationships are complex. We're good. Thanks for the concern. This doesn't fix it. I know, but it's something. I sat down tired. Riley, you can't weaponize social media. That's not fair to either of us. I wasn't trying to weaponize anything. I was just expressing myself. You were vague booking our marriage drama. There's a difference between expressing yourself and performing your pain for an audience. She looked genuinely remorseful. I really didn't think about it that way. I know, that's the problem. We sat in silence, the ironic kind, given the post, while I processed my feelings. Anger? Yes. Frustration? Definitely. But also understanding because I knew Riley. She processed externally, needed validation, craved attention. It's part of who she was. I just never been on the receiving end of it quite like this. Therapy Thursday, she said quietly. Therapy Thursday, I confirmed. The next few days were awkward. Friends still texted occasionally asking if I was okay. I developed a copy-paste response. We're working through it. Thanks for checking in. My mom called twice. I let it go to voicemail twice, then finally answered the third time. Travis Michael Bennett, middle name, never good. Hi, Mom. What is going on with you and Riley? We're fine. She posted something dramatic. She took it down. It's handled. She said silence was abuse. She was being hyperbolic. You know how social media is. I don't like social media. This is why. Everyone's sharing their business, like it's a TV show. Agreed. Are you happy then, Travis? Loaded question, dangerous question. The kind mothers ask when they already know the answer, but want you to say it out loud. I'm working on it. That's not a yes. It's not a no either. She sighed, the patented mom sigh that contains multitudes of judgment and concern. Just be happy, honey. Life's too short to be miserable. I know, Mom. I love you, Riley, too, but you first. Love you, too. Wednesday, I met the guys at Murphy's again. They'd seen the posts, the aftermath, the whole circus. Your wife is wild, Marcus said, not unkindly. She's something. You guys really going to therapy? Owen asked. Tomorrow. How you feeling about it? Terrified? Hopeful? Both simultaneously? Valid. Zane raised his beer. To therapy. May it fix what social media broke. Hear, hear. Thursday evening arrived with all the anticipation of a root canal. Riley and I drove to the therapist's office in silence. Comfortable silence this time, not weaponized silence. The office was exactly what you'd expect. Calming colors, inspirational quotes, a white noise machine that did nothing to calm my nerves. Dr. Patricia Chen was younger than I'd expected, warmer too. She had this way of looking at you that felt like she was reading your entire life story but wouldn't judge you for it. Travis, Riley, welcome. I'm Dr. Chen, but you can call me Patricia if you're comfortable. She gestured to a couch. Of course there was a couch. Let's start with why you're here. Riley and I looked at each other. You go. No, you go. A silent negotiation. We're here because we almost imploded our marriage in under a year, I said finally, and we'd like to not do that. That's a good start, Patricia said, smiling slightly. Riley, anything to add? I've been difficult. I demanded space, got mad when he gave it to me, posted dramatic things on Instagram, and generally acted like a confused teenager instead of a married adult. And Travis, from your perspective? I shut down, gave her exactly what she asked for, which turned out to not be what she wanted. and I was maybe a little too good at the silent treatment. Patricia nodded, taking note. So we have communication issues, unmet expectations, and some social media complications. That's putting it mildly, I said. Well, Patricia set down her pen and looked at us both. The good news is you're here. You both want to fix this. That's more than a lot of couples have. Now let's figure out how. For the next hour, we talked, cried both of us, which was embarrassing but cathartic. Patricia asked questions that made us think, gave homework that sounded easy but probably wasn't, and generally made us feel like maybe this wasn't completely hopeless. Driving home, Riley reached over and took my hand. Thank you for coming. Where else would I be? I mean it, you could have walked away so many times. I thought about it, I admitted, but walking away felt like giving up, and I'm too stubborn to give up. Thank God for stubbornness, right? That night, we watched TV together on the couch. She fell asleep with her head on my shoulder. I didn't move even when my arm went numb because this quiet moment felt worth preserving. Week 4 was ending differently than it started. The Instagram drama had forced conversations we needed to have. Therapy had given us tools we didn't know we needed. We weren't fixed, not even close, but we were trying. And for now, that was enough. 3 months rolled by like a movie montage. Therapy sessions, small improvements, occasional setbacks, the usual relationship rehabilitation program. We developed routines. Thursday therapy, Friday date nights, Sunday cooking together, with varying degrees of success. Riley stopped treating Instagram like her personal diary. I stopped treating silence like a superpower. We weren't perfect, far from it. We still argued about dishes, about whose turn it was to clean the bathroom, about whether pineapple belonged on pizza. It doesn't fight me. But they were normal arguments, the kind married people have, not the apocalyptic showdowns that characterized our early months. I woke up on a Saturday in early November to sunlight streaming through the window and Riley already awake, scrolling her phone. Morning, I mumbled. Morning. She set her phone down. I got an email. Those 4 words delivered in that tone never mean anything good. What kind of email? From me to you from 3 months ago. I sat up, suddenly awake. What? She handed me her phone. There it was, an email she'd apparently written during peak drama, scheduled to send after 3 months. The subject line, we need to talk. I opened it, heart doing gymnastics. Travis, if you're reading this, it means we either made it 3 months or I forgot to cancel this scheduled email. Hoping for the first one. I'm writing this at 2 a.m. after another therapy session, another fight, another moment of wondering if we're going to make it. I'm scared, terrified actually, that I broke something that can't be fixed, that my need for independence destroyed the best thing I ever had. You told me once that those first 6 months were real for you. They were real for me too. I was just too scared to admit that real meant vulnerable, and vulnerable meant I could get hurt. So I hurt you first, before you could hurt me. Stupid, right? If we're still together when you read this, I want you to know, you were right. About the boundaries, the tests, all of it. I was scared of marriage, of forever, of being someone's everything. I pushed you away because I thought if you left, at least it would be on my terms. But you didn't leave. Even when I gave you every reason to, even when I was cruel and distant and impossible. You stayed, not because you're weak, you're the strongest person I know, but because you loved me enough to let me figure my shit out. I don't know if we'll make it, but I hope we do. I hope in 3 months we're laughing about this email. I hope I've earned my way back to being your wife, not just legally, but in all the ways that matter. I love you. I'm sorry. And thank you for not giving up on me when I gave up on us, Riley P.S. If you're reading this and we're broken up, please ignore everything above and know that I definitely meant it when I called you possessive. Kidding, mostly. I read it twice, then a third time, because apparently that's what I do with important texts. You wrote this 3 months ago? During my most dramatic phase, I don't know what I thought. That if we made it, you'd see it as proof I was trying. If we didn't make it, at least you'd know I regretted it. That's the most chaotically romantic thing I've ever heard. Is it working? I pulled her close. Yeah, it's working. She relaxed against me, and we just existed there for a while. No phones, no distractions, just 2 people who'd fought their way back from the edge. Later that day, I did something I'd been planning for weeks. Built a wooden desk in our spare room, the room that had become my sanctuary during the dark times. Riley found me there, covered in sawdust, looking like a DIY disaster. What's this? A desk for writing. Thought I'd start journaling properly. Maybe turn this into an office. Your office? Our office. You can use it too. Joint space, shared territory. She smiled. I like that. Yeah? Yeah. That evening we sat on the couch, our couch, no more territorial claims. And she told me about her friend Melissa, the witch. Okay, she's not actually a witch. Could have fooled me. She's just intense, very into crystals and moon phases. Sounds like a witch. She's the one who convinced me I needed boundaries, that I was losing myself in the relationship. Ah, so she's the villain origin story. Riley laughed. Kind of, but she meant well. She's been divorced 3 times. She thinks everyone's relationship is doomed. Cheerful, right? Anyway, I stopped listening to her advice. Good call. Took me 3 months and almost losing you, but I got there. Better late than never. We spent the rest of the evening doing nothing important, watching that baking show where everyone's too nice to each other, eating ice cream straight from the container, existing in comfortable domesticity. At one point, she looked over at me. We're going to make it, right? Yeah, I said and meant it. We're going to make it. The next morning, Sunday, I woke up to an empty bed again. But this time I heard her in the kitchen, singing badly to some pop song. I padded out to find her making breakfast, dancing with a spatula, completely unselfconscious. Having fun? She jumped, laughing. You weren't supposed to see that. Too late. It's seared into my memory forever. Good. You can tell our grandkids about the time you married a woman who can't sing. Can't cook either. But we're working on it. Hey, this breakfast is going to be decent. It was decent. Not great, but decent. The eggs were only slightly rubbery. The toast was barely burnt. The coffee was perfect because I'd made it. We ate on the couch, watching Sunday morning shows, and I realized something. I was happy, not convinced myself I'm happy, or happy enough, or happy compared to before. Actually, genuinely happy. The silence I'd weaponized 3 months ago had transformed into something else. Peace. Comfortable quiet. The kind where you don't need to fill every moment with words because just being together is enough. If Riley ever showed up demanding attention again, testing boundaries again, pulling any of that old drama again, I'd be ready, not ready to fight, ready to walk, because I'd learned something crucial during the silence experiment. I could survive alone, survive and actually thrive. But I didn't think she would. She'd learned too. We both had. That afternoon, I sat at my new wooden desk, journal open, and wrote, 3 months ago, my wife told me she needed space. I gave it to her, all of it. The silence she demanded became my freedom. The boundaries she set became my peace. And somewhere in that space, we both figured out who we were without each other. Turns out we're better together, but only because we learned we could be okay apart. Marriage isn't about being someone's everything. It's about being someone's choice every single day. She chooses me now, and I choose her. Not because we have to, because we want to. I closed the journal, walked back to the living room where Riley was reading, and sat beside her. She looked up, smiled, and went back to her book. I pulled out my phone and opened a random article. We sat like that for an hour, not talking, not touching, just existing in the same space. Comfortable, peaceful. Home. If she ever asked again about those first 6 months, I'd tell her the truth. They were great. But these months, the ones where we almost fell apart and chose to rebuild instead, these were better. Because anyone can be perfect for 6 months. It takes something else entirely to be imperfect together and choose to stay anyway. My name's Travis Bennett. My wife almost destroyed our marriage with a boundary speech, a lobby meltdown, and a social media drama arc. I almost let her by becoming a silent ghost in my own home. But we didn't. We fought through it, therapied through it, awkwarded our way through it. And we came out the other side not perfect, but real. And honestly, I'll take real over perfect any day. Especially now that I've got my own desk, my navy sheets, and a wife who finally understands that space doesn't mean abandon me and see what happens. If someone asks me for marriage advice, and after everything someone inevitably will, I'll tell them this. Give people what they ask for. Respect their words, take them seriously. And if what they're asking for is insane, well, sometimes the best revenge is just letting them have exactly what they wanted and watching them realize they wanted something else entirely. No arguments today, no drama, no tests, just coffee, comfortable silence, and the quiet victory of making it through. That's enough for me.